Overflows, Upbringing, the Cause of Identity Crisis. A child comes into the world without anything inscribed on his consciousness, like an innocent, empty canvas, and free of ambitions, he comes just as thoughtlessness. But every child is born totally aware because the brain and the mind is not yet developed. There are certain sanskars that he has worked in the past lives, he brings it with. And it takes a little while because consciousness or total awareness cannot manifest itself without the faculty of brain as an operating principle and mind as a hardware. Certainly, he cannot be responsible for anything. The people around him, parents, priests, educational system, society, the entire gang who claim to nourish and nurture the tender plant into maturity are responsible for destroying the consciousness of the child. This is a social process. The empty canvas is being painted in myriad ways. Soon, the child will start adding his interpretation as his contribution. This is unending vicious cycle. No one knows how and from where to make the breakthrough. Now, as his journey into life begins, he faces problems as life asks answers to simple questions, but he has no answers. A state of confusion and conflict begins. Sometimes he stumbles upon solutions to his state, but in the absence of awareness, absence of activated awareness, he overlooks these. All the cultures have been responsible for the exploitation of the child in their own way under the disguise of love. This is what has been done to the parents when they were a child. This has been their legacy, and they are carrying the legacy forward. No one dares to break the ice or bell the cat. The entire objective has been to enslave the child. Such is the conditioning. This is the root cause of egocentric identity. Once happens, continues lifelong through various ebbs and flows in life. The moment child becomes part of the society, he loses something valuable, and that he begins to lose his connection with his inner self and thus with the entire existence. He starts living more and more through the mind, and connection with the heart is lost, and thus connection with the consciousness, the inborn treasure. The process can begin only when you start listening to your own inner voice. Shankar explained the methodology through Nirvan Shatkam and its 6 stanzas of 4 lines each, where he denies, and in the denial, the opposite, he shows the way of transcendence beyond the two, beyond the duality. Nirvan Shatkam is the way of transcendence beyond the duality. And each one of us has to carry his own cross on his shoulders and carry uphill. Inner light awakening protects you from unwanted energy vibrations, both inner and outer. The entire existence is vibration. Everything around you creates a certain vibration, and this vibration creates the energy field. This can influence you in many ways if you allow. If you are aware and experience deep within the very source of life, then you will not allow this energy field to affect you in any way. Instead, you will live by your own light. This was the last message of Gautam the Buddha. But the moment you do this, you are considered an outcast in your society, social life. A copper cup around you can influence you in many ways. So too the planets and their movements. It is up to you to allow this or not. For a Buddha, such thing cannot influence him in any way. Try to understand this with an example. During certain time, there are viral influences. People contract this and get sick. If your immune system is weak, you will be influenced by the virus and infected by it. If your immune system is strong enough, no virus can affect you. Something like this happens when you go to a third person to discover about your destiny, whether these two persons will live happily or not. This is insane. No one can decide for you, but you have allowed such thing, and that is the cause of your misery. Discover the light within and be always guided by that light. It will bring benediction around you, in you. Divine is within you. The source of life is working within you to blossom through you. You would allow the divine, would you allow the divine within to work for you and guide you moment to moment, or allow the inanimate things to influence you and allow the people to influence you through their words and readings? The choice is always yours. As regards the water, its energy on a scale of 0 to 10 is 2. And so you can increase the level of energy from 0 to 10 by a simple method using your awareness. My uncle Sufi Omkarnath, whenever water is offered to him, he will hold in his hand and he will move his head this way, and then he will drink the water. As a children, we never knew this, so we start imitating this. So one day, my grandmother saw this and she called me, "What are you doing this?" I said, "Mama does this." He said, "Do you know what he does?" I said, "No." He said, "Then stop this nonsense. First find out what he does, and then you can learn, you can do it on your own." So when later on I realized he is casting his vision, a glance into the water, and with that his energy field that vibration of his energy field is going into the water and increasing its energy level from 2 to 10 on a scale, and it can increase to infinite level. Then this water becomes a medicine for you. It will not only give provide the nourishment for the physical body but consciousness as well. I had done this experiment, but for that the electric current to move, you need a metal cup. For instance, movement of moon affects water. On a full moon day, ocean gets crazy, and so too man. You may have copper cup around you and you use for drinking water. Certainly, water in copper cup is beneficial to you. Would you allow the copper, the moon, and other inanimate objects to influence you and your destiny, or you want the divine presence within you influence everything around you? I have never allowed anything inanimate or any person to influence me or my life or understanding except the divine or the light within. The divine within goes on working in myriad ways. Only you are incapable to listen to the message and rely on others who you consider can change your destiny. I can simply guide you. A master is a catalyst. He is simply a presence. In his presence, the process of alchemical change begins in you, and you attribute it that this is happening because of the master, his presence. It is happening because of the presence that you have allowed around you, but the rest you will have to do. The more you are aware each moment, you will realize nothing in innate object or planet or planetary movement or a person can influence you. I assure you, this is my certitude. People move from one thing to the opposite That is not the way of transformation. This, it is the same pendulum moving from left to right and right to the left. And that is how your life has been moving for centuries. It is the same pendulum. The pendulum has to be stopped in the middle, and that is the miracle of awareness. Just be aware that this is my chief pitfall. This is the place where I stumble again and again. This is the root cause of my consciousness. Do not allow, do not try to cultivate the opposite of it, but pour your whole awareness into it. Shankar's entire emphasis in Nirvana Shatkam is to make you aware of the duality, the opposites, the death, birth and death. And then he shows the way to go beyond the duality. Create a great bonfire of awareness, and it will be burned, and then pendulum stops in the middle. And with the stopping of the pendulum, time stops. Suddenly you enter into the world of timelessness, deathlessness, and eternity. A wise man of awareness will not allow anyone or anything to influence him except the light within. When you seek a spiritual path, what does this mean? It simply means you are not allowing anyone to influence you now. You are going wherever it takes you. The light within can never mislead you, but there is an inborn fear. I am going beyond all bondages, influences, beyond dualities. Only then you can attain to freedom. And that freedom is awakening, or that freedom is enlightenment. Look at the flower. It never bothers anything. It has severed all bondages and influences, and in the process it blossoms. When mind, its attributes, and egocentric identities begin to melt and dissolve, a state of bliss comes. This melting of the mind is the beginning of truth. Truth is lurking from behind the, not behind the curtain, it comes in front and starts guiding you. It is something like this. You are standing in a dark night outside. There is darkness, you cannot see anything. All of a sudden, there is a thunder, there is lightning, and lightning comes like truth. And in that very moment, you can see your path. So you walk, and that walking in that light is consciousness, chit. And then out of that, what happens is anand or bliss. When mind, its attributes and egocentric identities begin to melt and dissolve, truth begins to manifest. You start moving forward through the realm of, through the walking methodology of consciousness, and a state of bliss or anand comes. In that state of consciousness, and both within and around you, everything auspicious begins to happen. In that state of consciousness around and within you, everything auspicious begins to happen. This is known as Mangalam, or auspiciousness, the melting of the mind, the process of the melting of the mind, dissolution of the mind, dissolution of the egocentric desires, identities has begun. Enough for now.